I'm at the post office. March came in like a lion here in Montrose. My tires are spinning trying to get up on the street. This select roads today. Anyway, March came in like a lion. But this is a good thing because the mountains didn't have enough snow. So we got a little bit here. You can see it here on the streets of Montrose. But when you go up to the mountains, we probably got maybe a foot or two of new snow overnight. So I'm heading down. I'm going to turn down Main Street, going back to my house.
That it is impossible to say Jesus is Lord with any sense of reality and integrity except by the enabling of the Spirit of God. No one, he says, can say Jesus is Lord but by the Holy Spirit. So the words of Jesus here are not setting aside in any aspect the importance, indeed the necessity, of our being able to make a verbal profession of our faith and trust in Jesus and to declare with our lips that Jesus is Lord. However, what Jesus is saying is this: it is distinctly possible to make a verbal profession which is unreal, even a particularly striking verbal profession. Notice here in Matthew 7 that these individuals were declaring the Lordship of Jesus Christ in a way that was first of all gracious. Gracious. The word Lord itself was an expression of grace and of courtesy. It was also an expression that was orthodox, because they referred to him as Lord, at least in a fledgling awareness of the fact that this Jesus was more than a man, that he was actually the Messiah come. Also, his lordship in a way that was enthusiastic. In fact, Jesus says there will be plenty of people who would say in that day, Lord, Lord. In other words, they didn't just say it once, they said it twice, and they said it for emphasis, because they were enthusiastic in saying, Your Lord, Your Lord. Also, you will notice that their statements were public, because they were able to make it in a way that people understood what they were saying. And furthermore, it is clear that their declaration of the Lordship of Christ was not only public, but it was dramatic. We prophesied in your name. We drove out demons in your name. We performed miracles. Now here, is it possible for somebody to perform miracles and drive out demons and do all these things, and then to hear Jesus say, Depart from me, I don't have a clue who you are. You come from the department of evildoers? Yes. Yes. This is the answer to much that we see around us. The people coming and saying, you know, these people must be orthodox, because look at the dramatic things they're doing. Look at the incredible claims they're making. Should we be unsettled by this? Should we be surprised by this? Should we seek to overturn it? No, because Jesus made it perfectly clear that the signs and wonders would be done by false Christs. If you question that, you can read Jesus' words himself in Matthew 24:24. For false Christs and false prophets will appear and perform great signs and miracles to deceive even the elect, if that were possible. He says, see, I told you ahead of time. Don't be dim-witted, he said. Don't think that giftedness equals an understanding of lordship. Don't think that because a man is a tremendous preacher, that he is necessarily living under the lordship of Christ. That's what he's saying. Don't you, if God has apparently gifted you, although the source of the gift may be somewhere else completely, don't you try and adjudicate on yourself on the strength of the dramatic things you're able to do, because, says Jesus, on the day of judgment, there will be people who stand up and say, oh, Jesus, I know I'm coming into your kingdom, because after all, I said, Lord, Lord, and I did this and this. I was in my profession absolutely clear. I was orthodox. Paul, when he concerns himself with it in writing to the Thessalonians, he makes the same thing absolutely clear in 2 Thessalonians 2, 9 and 10. It's the same emphasis. An overlooked emphasis in our day, I warrant you, but nevertheless a biblical emphasis. The coming of the lawless one, he says, will be, in reference to the Antichrist, in accord with the work of Satan. And how will the work of Satan be displayed? Answer, in all kinds of counterfeit miracles, signs and wonders, and in every sort of evil that deceives those who are perishing. That's why the emphasis on the Bible, both for the individual in examining our lives before God and in assessing the effectiveness and the import of ministry as it is exercised by others, is directly related to the holiness of our lives and to the obedience of our hearts, and not to the apparent exceptional nature of our gifts.
I'm getting close to home again. This preacher here is on CSN Radio International. You can look up CSN Radio International on the internet. They have a website. I'm going to cut the video off. Thanks.